So, cosine. Let's go back to our basic parent function. Y equals, I'm going to use theta this time. I haven't used theta yet. All right. Now, going back up to the unit circle. Cosine are the x coordinates. So I'm going to do the exact same thing that we did up here, except now we're going to look at cosine. So let's make a table. And again, we're only going to graph this first one from 0 to 2 pi. Okay, so let's make a table. If I plug in 0, I want the cosine of 0. That looks like a theta. That would be a 0. So cosine of 0 is right here, and I want the x coordinate, so that is 1. Okay, then I'm going to keep going around the circle, pi over 2. So if I go back up, pi over 2 is right here. My x coordinate is 0. So cosine of pi over 2 is 0. Pi, remember the cosine of pi was negative 1. I guess I can scroll up some more. Let's see. 3 pi over 2. So cosine of 3 pi over 2. So where was 3 pi over 2? It was straight down. But I want the x coordinate, so negative 1. And right here, the cosine, that's negative 1 of pi. And then we go back around a full circle, cosine of 2 pi. That takes us back to our starting point, which was 1. So I have these 5 points right here, and I'm going to graph those. Okay, so let's see if I can get any better. Apparently not. For real. Yikes. This is probably painful for you all to watch. I apologize. Next video, I'll get better. Okay, so on the x-axis, again, we only need to go to 2 pi, but don't count by pi because that would be 2 pi and you would have your teeny tiny little graph. So spread this out. So I would count by pi over 2s. You could count by pi over 4s. Let's say maybe that's pi over 2. So that's pi. So that'd be 3 pi over 2. So that's 2 pi. So we spread this out a little bit more. And then let's say this is 1. And then this is negative 1. All right, so let's start graphing. My first point right here is 0, 1. So 0, 1, right here. My next point is pi over 2, 0, so that's here. At pi, we are at negative 1. 3 pi over 2 is 0, and 2 pi is back. So we're back to where we started again. So this is going to be one full period. Okay, now, again, this looks like the absolute value graph, but please, please, please do not draw a V. Okay, remember this is curved. Oh, bless. There, that looks a little bit better. But again, here's what's going to happen. From here, it's just going to keep going down and back up, and down and back up. Okay, so we've just graphed one full period. Okay, so let's go write our key features. So key features here. We know, so I'll just put KF. We know our amplitude is 1. A period is 2 pi. Because that distance is 2 pi, and it's just going to keep repeating itself. X-intercepts, there are only 2. Pi over 2 and 3 pi over 2. Y-intercept is that 1. Extrema, we have max. You have 2 of them. We have one at 0, 1, and at 0 to pi. Minimums, there's only one. It looks like pi -1. Now, I made a mistake here. I was just seeing if you guys would pay attention or were paying attention. This right here. Okay, so that second maximum, let's fix that. That second maximum is right here. The x coordinate is 2 pi. The y coordinate is 1. So that looks a little bit better. Minimum we said was at pi -1. We also need increasing interval, decreasing interval. Okay, so increasing intervals, since we just have this one period, we just have one increasing interval. So it's this right here. So that is occurring from pi to 2 pi. Decreasing interval is from 0 to pi. If we wanted to talk about domain, the domain for this particular graph was given up here. Now, if they didn't put restrictions on your graph, technically the domain would be -infinity to +infinity. But your range would definitely be from -1 to +1 because it's not going to go any higher or any lower. Okay, so let's do one more and then I'm going to leave you. All right, so let me scroll. I'm at the end of my page. Let's squeeze it in here just because I don't want to open a new one. Okay, so let's graph y equals 3 cosine theta. So right here, my amplitude is 3. So all my mins and maxes are going to go up 3 and down 3. Okay, up 3 and down 3. We're going to graph this from the interval from -3 pi to 3 pi. Okay, now remember the period is 2 pi. Okay, so let's start graphing and then we'll just discuss the key features. So if I want, let's see here. Oh, holy Moses. Let's try this again. Oh, joy. Hey, there we go. Okay, now again, I always go back and refer to the parent functions. With sine, our very first point is at the origin, but with cosine, if I look right here, my very first point is a maximum. Okay, so I'm not going to put my very first point right here at 1. I'm going to put my very first point up at +3. And the reason for that is because my amplitude is 3. Now, I didn't number anything. Let's number stuff. Let's go, here's pi, 2 pi, 3 pi. And then this would be -pi, -2 pi, -3 pi. Okay, so remember we said one full period is 2 pi. So right here is 2 pi, and I am going to end right where I started. So right now, let's graph just this one full period. Now, what happens right in the middle of a period in a cosine curve? Well, that would be a minimum. So right in the middle of ours, here's right in the middle, I want a minimum. Well, now I'm going to go down 3. Okay, now what happens on the first half of this graph? Well, I have an x-intercept. So the first half of my graph from 0 to pi, I'm going to have an x-intercept, and then the second half x-intercept. And again, there's that v, but we want to make this as smooth as possible. I know it's hard. Okay, making improvements though. Okay, now I'm going to take that right there and I am going to just keep repeating that, okay? So just do your best you can to repeat this. I know right here I've got to go back down, and then at 3 pi I'm back down at -3. So there's that piece of the graph. Okay, now I'm going to start repeating the same things here. I know this is going to be an intercept. This is going to go down, and then it will come back up. And there's another period. Okay, so I'm going to connect that. Yikes again. Okay, and then that's got to go down. So then I'm going to finish this period here. That's bad. Okay, so really, we see 3 full periods. Okay, so I know here's a period and here's a period. This is half and this is half, but I can also look at it from here to here is a period, here to here is a period, and here to here is a period. So this entire graph, we're seeing 3 full periods. Okay. As far as the key features, we've talked about the amplitude was 3. We've got the period as 2 pi. You have x-intercepts. This would be negative 2.5 pi. So negative 2.5 would be negative 5 pi over 2. This would be negative 1.5 pi, so negative 3 pi over 2. Negative pi over 2. This is positive pi over 2. Positive 3 pi over 2. And positive 5 pi over 2. Y-intercept now, though, is not 0. It's positive 3. Increasing intervals, it would be increasing from negative 3 pi to negative 2 pi. Increasing from negative pi to 0. Increasing from pi to 2 pi. Decreasing intervals would be starting right here from negative 2 pi to negative pi. Decreasing from 0 to pi, and decreasing from 2 pi to 3 pi. Points of extrema, you have a maximum at negative 2 pi, 3, a maximum at 0, 3, and at positive 2 pi, 3. Minimums, we have 4 minimums, negative 3 pi, negative 3, negative pi, negative 3, pi, negative 3, and 3 pi, negative 3. Okay, so this is where I'm going to stop for now. Okay, I believe you have, I think I gave you 4 graphs to work on. Guys, refer back to this. You can email me at any time. Hopefully the next video will be a little bit better, but I will take these notes, my notes that I just looked off of, and I will post those on Oasis as well. Guys, I miss you. I can't wait to see you all. Okay, we will talk to you later.